Hi, my name is Kelly Preston, and I'm going to talk about the workplace and stress and coping. So there's various forms of stress, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to talk about the workplace and the challenges that one might face when they're in the workplace and the stress that might accompany those challenges. But to begin, I want to talk about the motives there are for people entering the workplace to begin with. And the first motive is so that they can earn a living. People want to go and get a job so that they can have money, so they can pay the bills and they can buy things that they need, such as shelter and clothing and food. Another motive is so that they can save money. People want to either save money for emergencies or they want to save money so they can buy a large purchase later on in the future. There's various reasons, but that is a motive for people entering the workplace. Another reason is so that people can spend money on things that they desire. So they have all of their needs met, they have extra saving, but they want to buy something they don't necessarily need, but they certainly want. And then the last motive is so that they can experience a continuous process of challenge and achievement. This is somebody who has all of their external needs met, but this is an intrinsic need that they are fulfilling because they don't necessarily work to gain money. So this is kind of like an example for somebody like Bill Gates, who is a billionaire, but he continues to work every day so that he can experience a continuous process of challenge and achievement. You first need to be able to get the job, and you need to be able to have a good, solid resume and cover letter. This can cause mild to moderate amount of stress. Because the resume and cover letter are such key components to even getting an interview, it can cause a certain level of stress in some individuals. And so briefly, your resume really just needs a good heading, which is information about you and how to reach you, an objective, which is tailored specifically for the position that you're applying for. And then you need to follow up with your educational background, your work experiences, and good solid references. Then with your resume, you need to be able to have a cover letter. And with this cover letter, you're going to discuss your qualifications and why you were good for this job position, request if you can please have an interview, and then thank them for their consideration. This cover letter is important, and a lot of people fail to add this cover letter, but it makes a huge difference because that is the first thing that they often see. The next process after you complete your cover letter and your resume is getting your interview. Now, this can be a potential major source of stress, but if you have patience, you maintain eye contact, you have professional demeanor and professional attire, you are confident, you want to promote yourself, but you want to stay humble and don't wear cologne or any perfume, your chances of being offered a job highly increases. So let's say you get the job and you are in the workplace. There are different adjustments that need to be made, especially if you are coming from school and all you have known is the school system. So the school system compared to the work system are pretty different. When you're in the school, you are continuously updated on your progress. You know where you're at, you are given rewards, you know if you make this next step, this is what's going to happen. When you enter the work system, you're not there's a different type of progress, and you may work for years without getting a promotion. So it's different. It's a different type of system. You also need to merge your beliefs and attitudes and values with the organization that you work for. If you're working for an organization, you have to understand what their needs are, and you have to promote their values and their needs as well. You need to remember that you're a subordinate and you are new. You're still learning, so you are not in control of anything, and you need to act accordingly. You also need to adjust your social skills with new people in a new environment. So this is different people that you don't know and you're still learning, and you need to adjust your social skills with them. You also need to continuously maintain your position and improve every day and show that you are qualified for being hired for that position. If you have somebody who can mentor you and help you along the way, that is also helpful. You need to remember that you need to set boundaries with what's happening at home and don't bring that into work, and vice versa. You don't need to bring what's happening at work at home. And you also need to eventually evaluate this choice in this position. Is this what you want? Is this where you would like to stay? And lastly, you need to understand how to cope with daily stressors. Understand what is stressing you. Identify specifically what's stressing you. Then you need to understand how to cope with daily stressors and come up with some rational solution to be able to handle that stress. And there's different stages of career development. The first stage is fantasy stage, and this stage is early childhood to 11. And this stage is called fantasy stage because they typically pick careers that they have no sense on whether that is emotionally or physically or intellectually matches their capabilities or their circumstances. Then the second stage is a tentative choice stage. This is from age 11 to high school. And children make those choices based on their interests and abilities and limitations. And they like to show some type of realistic self-assessment that kind of matches them. Then when they are beyond 17 or so, this is the realistic choice stage. And so in this stage, they appraise themselves more accurately, and they kind of merge their interests and their abilities and values to a job that they feel is achievable. Then you have your maintenance stage. And this stage is when you are settling into your career, and it generally happens in your late 30s. This stage could be whether you're moving up within a company or you are comfortable where you are at. Then there is the career change. Since people are living longer and they are not sticking with the job until they're 65 so they can retire, they're taking more time to consider whether that job is right for them or if they need to change careers. So some people take that time and they end up leaving their job if the opportunity arises. The final stage is the retirement stage. This is when individuals cut off ties with the workplace and they are set for retirement. Generally, those who are ready for this time and have planned for this time with their money and they are ready for their retirement are generally happier and well off. However, if you have not planned for that retirement, that can also be a source of stress. The workplace journey has many challenges and stress within each of those challenges. And Shelley's going to discuss how to manage that stress in the workplace and the effect that stress has on your body and your immune system.
Hi, I'm Shelley Eisinger, and I'm going to be doing a short presentation on challenges in the workplace as it pertains to stress and burnout in particular. So let me go ahead and start my little presentation. And things are going a little slow today, so I apologize. So anyway, I always like to start things off with some sort of intro, and this is just something called a think, pair, share, asking, what do you know about stress and how do you know if you have it? And then the definition of stress, of course, is this state of mental or emotional strain resulting from demanding circumstances. And of course, we're looking at this as it relates to the workplace. Every job has it. There are some good stress and some negative stress. For areas that stress can be from our physical environment, the individual stressors that we experience in our job, some of our group dynamics, if they are unhealthy, whether it be with our supervisors or our peers, and also the stresses just from an organization itself, as far as what is the structure or conflicts within the organization. Those can be categorized into three different levels. Like I said before, the positive stress is good. That's normal. It's short-lived. This is where we learn our coping skills. Positive stress can help us be focused and get in reaching our goals, I should say. There's another level called tolerable stress, and in this, it is a limited time. It's not long or enduring, but it does tend to disrupt our brain function. But we typically have some sort of supportive relationships at work or at home or whatever that help us in adapting or coping to this stress. Last is toxic stress. This is the long, enduring activation of stress on our body and our health in general. And this is the type of stress that can lead to other types of illnesses. Some stress examples that we feel, those reactions to the stressors in our life, are apathy. We can feel it in heart disease or inflammation of other body parts, fatigue or sleep issues in general. Mood issues that we may experience, being irritable or making some careless mistakes. And this can be due to decreased attention span or memory issues in general. So speaking just directly regarding burnout, which this is kind of like my main focus or whatever, it is not an official mental disorder according to the DSM-5, but of course we know it to be very serious. In fact, just recently, the World Health Organization classified burnout as an occupational phenomenon due to chronic workplace stress. Burnout is characterized by three main dimensions: exhaustion, also with cynicism, meaning I kind of don't care about my job, and feelings of lack of professional ability. I have a very short video embedded in here, but it's really good. It's recent, and it has to do with what has been called the Great Resignation, whereas it's a mass exodus of employees from all workplaces. It's also called the Big Quit, that is ongoing, where people are just pretty much wanting to leave their jobs for a variety of reasons, and burnout is just one of those. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor, over 4 million Americans quit their jobs all the way through in July 2021 this year. Okay. I have these few slides related to what burnout looks like, and I have it divided into two sections. One is it's the content of work that we struggle with that creates burnout, the workload, how much control or participation we are actively engaged in the work that we do, as well as the job content itself. As far as the context of work, this could be what is our role or the inequity that's involved in our job. My low pay, but a lot of hours, perhaps. The working environment and just the culture overall in the environment. And of course, again, the relationships that occur in my job, my work environment. I have to definitely talk about teacher burnout because that's what I am. And I think it's really relevant right now. This year, the CDC gave a new report that said that a lot of our teachers are experiencing burnout. And of course, it's leading to not only that whole Great Resignation, but also increased alcohol abuse, teachers having more mental health issues with this. And of course, a lot of this is because of the pandemic and how it's changed our education system and the different protocols. And it's like a domino effect. So you have so many people leaving their jobs, and it's creating, extra stresses on those that are there, and how to fill those spots, and how to close learning gaps because of people being in lockdown, etc. I just wanted to talk about very briefly of how we can prevent burnout. And I have 6 things listed here. One is to prioritize, set realistic goals. 2, ask for help. This is really difficult for a lot of us because, we especially burnout can affect high achieving people, high achievers, and it's difficult to ask for help. But it's important to have a good support system of people who will listen and help solve your problems. Learn to just say no. Not everything, you have to say yes to or agree. Some things you just kind of put to the side. Exercise and eat healthy. This kind of goes back to be conscientious or mindful of what you're putting in your body, all kinds of things. Also, getting enough sleep. Yeah, that's, I know, easier said than done, but try to start off setting reasonable bedtime routines and making your alarm to where you're not just jumping up out of bed the next day and rushing out the door already in a state of stress. And then, of course, do more of what you love. Take time out for yourself, even if it's just binge watching TV in your pajamas one day. A good way to help with this is to make a plan before stress and burnout hit. If you find that you're struggling and there's areas that are really challenging for you, maybe look for online classes or professional development. This is that ask for help. And if you can't get help within your work environment, like I said, online has great things that you can look up, or online forums or support groups. Practice self-care. I'm really a huge proponent of this and positive psychology and looking into mindfulness, deep breathing, and gratitude. Having a positive attitude, and I definitely don't mean toxic positivity because that's rampant right now, but it's how can you reframe your situation? What can you do to accept where you are or what it is that you're doing, and maybe change your focus within it. And again, practice gratitude and focus on positives. And the last thing is, what are the things that trigger, this whole idea of stress within ourselves? Are you taking on too much work? That's that whole saying yes. Are you socializing less? Do you feel yourself so involved in work that, you don't have time for others? Are you feeling out of control? Or are your values not matching up with the professional values or your personal values? So anyway, this was just, like I said, a very short presentation on stress and how it affects burnout. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys have a good day.